This is TWIS, This Week in Science, episode number 466, recorded on Thursday, May 29th, 2014, going down to Robot Town. I'm Blair Bazderich, and today we'll fill your head with scorpions, robots, evolution, robots, blue honey, oh, and robots. But first, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. TWIS is now. What is now? Now is not then, now is not later, but now never lasts. It is infinitely small and impossible to grasp. With every tick of the clock, and a now has passed and a future becomes present. What nows were and were good, what nows are now long gone and were less than perfect, what nows have passed us by as highly forgettable, what nows have become thens and were downright regrettable, all those nows are written in the tomes of time forever. We cannot get them back, and nor should we, but we can grow and learn from the nows that are gone. With the nows that will come soon, and not so soon, the nows in the future, we can plan, we can look forward, and live, hoping to make those future nows better. So, what to do now? No, now? Now? Oh, of course, now! It's time for This Week in Science! Coming up next. So we don't have music because we don't have Kiki today. So good science to you, David.
Hooray!
Happy Day of Science. Welcome to this week's episode of This Week in Science. Today we have a great show ahead. We are sans Kiki. Justin will be joining us hopefully in a little bit. But in the meantime, on this week's show, we have so much science, but we're also joined by a very special guest, our Robot Overlord, David Calkins. Hi, David. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been playing with robots for about 15 years now. Built many, founded the International Robo Games, which draws people from around the world. I used to teach robotics at San Francisco State University, and now I'm very fortunate to work for LEGO in their robotics division. And sadly, the overlords have taken over.
Oh, my goodness. So you're working for the enemy, aren't you?
Nowadays, they've got me working for them.
Fantastic. Well, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So let's say what we brought. Let's see. I have lots of stuff. I have blue honey from bees. I have scorpions and sexism. I have some of the politics of science. I have fruit flies. I have smartphones making you dumb. Oh my goodness, I have so much stuff, and I have crickets. I don't know if we're going to get to all of that. What did you bring?
Walking robots, talking robots, thinking robots, and a lot of the evolution of what's going on in humanoid robotics today.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's start the ball rolling. Why don't you jump right in?
So, humanoid robotics is a bigger thing, mostly because everybody wants to have a robot that does what they do, which is walk. When you think about robotics, it's easy to think in terms of R2-D2 versus C3PO. It's really easy to envision those. And mostly what we have today are R2-D2s, robots that are two-wheeled and move around. And the reason we never saw R2-D2 go up and down stairs is because it didn't. You had a production assistant picking up the robot and moving it downstairs off camera, whereas C3PO could move up and down stairs. And now we've got a couple of different big advancements, or little advancements, depending on where you are in robotics. Intel just released a new robot development platform called Jimmy this week, which is all 3D printed parts, and they're trying to bring that down to a $1,500 price point.
Wow.
Robotis is coming out with another humanoid, also trying to do a sub $1,000 price point with 3D printing. And KAIST, the Korean Advanced Institute for Science and Technology, came out with a raptor robot this week, which is actually moving, unlike a human, more like a raptor.
My goodness. So what do you think about making a robot, a bipedal robot, affordable for the common man? What's your opinion on that?
So this is a very, very long answer to a short question. And before you can understand why it's hard to make that affordable, first you have to understand a little bit about humanity. And in all my years in high school and college, I learned very little about the human body and how we moved until I started studying humanoid robots in about 2004. And I'd never known how many muscles there were in the human body. Turns out there's about 640, and most of them are used when you're walking. Even your neck muscles and things like that. If you try to walk with your neck canted like this, it doesn't just make it difficult to see, but it actually puts you a little bit off balance, and so you have to adjust for that. And all of your toes actually work when you're walking. So the problem is just below the waist, you have 300 odd muscles doing all these motions. And with most humanoid robots, they're trying to replicate that with about 12 motors. So you're going from 300 degrees of freedom in the human body below the waist to 12 degrees of freedom below the waist, generally 6 motors per leg. And this actually makes walking very hard. So when people are watching videos of robots walking, falling down stairs, things like that, you'll notice that they walk very jaggedy, very staccato. They fall down stairs when they're trying to go up and down stairs. They're not very good at running, things like this. And that's because they're trying to replicate how we walk by cutting the number of degrees of freedom, which is every motor, every little bend. So when I move my finger this way, that's 1 degree of freedom. And when I move my finger this way, that's another. So this is 2 degrees of freedom, which most robots don't have in their legs. And so all three of these companies are doing more and more computational processing to try to better alleviate the problem of not falling down when you're walking. The other thing that they're trying to do is have a robot that doesn't just walk, but can do stuff. And so it's one thing to solve all of the problems of having a walking robot, to be able to walk around your house and step over the trash that's on your ground, to go up and down stairs, things like that. And it's another thing to get the robot to do stuff that you find useful. If you want the robot to open up the refrigerator and get you a beer, the vision processing has to be able to recognize every configuration of a refrigerator. Does it open to the left or does it open to the right? Where to find the refrigerator in most people's houses. Once you open the door, how to stop opening the door. How to scan the shelves for the beer. Are the beers standing upright? Are they on their side? Are they cans? Are they bottles? How do they reach in and grab that beer? How do they pull the beer out without upsetting the other things? I mean, things that you and I would do occasionally ourselves. But how do we program to do that on a regular basis? And so I think with Intel's recent release, what they're trying to do is have computational process power to make the robots be able to do something besides just move around the house.
Right. And so, but you were saying the $1,500 price point they're working towards.
They're working towards, but it's really important to recognize that when they're working towards that price point, they're not working towards a 5.5 foot tall robot at $1,500. They're working towards a robot that's about 14 inches tall. It's about this big.
And so that would, I'm just trying to think, so a 14-inch tall robot, is that more of a gadgety toy that someone would be purchasing? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail from that, especially since I know two of the primary leads on both of those projects. But for now, it's a gadgety toy. But when you think about it, when cell phones came out, they were gadgety toys. You know, I mean,
Totally.
when cell phones first came out in widespread use, let's say the mid '80s, it was, you had to be very rich or a doctor or somebody really key to use a cell phone, and they were very, very expensive. Not just in terms of the phone itself, but how much the monthly charges were. And you had like 200 talk minutes per month, which was insane for what we use today. But in order to get where we are today with smartphones, we had to go through that process of the 80s and the 90s and the aughts to get to where we are today. And so to get useful 5.5 foot tall robots that can open your refrigerator and get you a beer, first you have to go through the process of having 12-inch tall robots that can just run.
And so these robots, if they can run and they can move and they can assimilate information, that's part of it too, right? That's what a lot of the Jimmy is, right?
A good chunk of Jimmy is just being able to assimilate all the vision and the vision recognition there. You know,
Right.
figure out what it's seeing. If you walk into a messy room, is the mess on the floor part of the rug or is it not part of the rug? And that's the
Right.
thing that we as humans have evolved to understand intuitively, but the robots have to be programmed for that.
Right. And so once these robots have figured a lot of this out and they're 14 inches tall, they'll still be able to do some tasks for these people when they purchase them, right?
Hopefully, I mean, neither of them have been released yet, so
Mhm.
I'm specific to the Intel machine and
Right.
the Robotis machine. Um, neither of them have been released yet. They're both
Mhm.
working on them.
Right.
There are lots of humanoids. I actually have, I don't know, 10 or 12 humanoids in my garage, all of which are about 12 feet tall. But they're not very useful. I mean, they're really cool toys if you're an average person for about an hour, and then they get pretty boring because they're very limited in their scope.
How do you tell these robots what to do? Are you typing something into a computer?
So it's somewhere in between. In my case, they're all PlayStation controllers, so
Mm.
you're moving forward, backwards, things like that. But then all of the movements are pre-programmed. You say go forward, you know, go running 5 inches. You don't want to say each individual muscle has to do this, so you have pre-programmed maneuvers and things like that. And that
Mhm.
is one of the problems in robotics is when I tell you stand up in your chair, you don't think about all of the muscles that you're using to stand up in your chair, you just do it. And
Yeah.
so when you're programming robots, you have to account for all of that and be able to not only program the muscles, but all of the sensors. So you know which way is up. If you fall down, you know you've fallen down, and there's many different ways you know that. But the robots have to be programmed to know that they've fallen down and have all the sensor-based activities to know not just if they've fallen down, but once they've fallen down, are they facing up? Are they facing down? Are they facing left? Are they facing right?
Mhm.
And how do they get up?
Yeah. So it sounds like this is a pretty big step on the way. That if we can get a lot of this motor stuff going, that sounds like it's been a pretty big uh, kind of hurdle to cross to be able to get the bipedal movement going just right.
Yeah, and even if you look at Honda's Asimo, which is probably the most
Mhm.
famous one, it's still it's many hundreds of millions of dollars of man hours to get to that point, and it's still nothing that you'd want to go out and buy, and it's still I don't think can really get you that stereotypical beer.
Right. And so I guess my other question about it is, what do you think about the practicality and um, what's your opinion on if a random person could just purchase a robot? How do you
You can
feel
do it.
about that?
You can do it right now. There are many kits. In fact, Robotis sells a kit. Trosson Robotics sells a kit. There's lots of different kits you can go out there and buy. Again, at about the $1,500 price point.
Mm.
And it's following the same analog as cell phones, is that the costs are kind of flat right now at $1,500, but every year they get better. So just like a cell phone is, let's say, $200, and every year that $200 buys you a better, faster, cooler cell phone. But it's still about $200. And so for the last 10 years or so, most 12, 14-inch robots have been about $1,500. It's just that they get better, they get faster, they fall down less, those sorts of things.
So do you think in the future most houses will just have a robot?
Kind of skeptical of it.
Why?
Um, there's so much tech involved, and the thing about motors is they break. Whatever your motor is, they break. Your cars break down, your lawnmowers break, everything you have with a motor sooner or later is going to break. And when you get to the point of having a robot in your house that is wandering around constantly, those motors are going to break, and then you're going to need to replace them and fix them. And so then I guess you need to have a second robot to fix the first robot.
Right, exactly.
It's cheaper to just have a kid and tell your kid to go clean the dishes. I mean,
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, that's pretty. It's a pretty interesting development in the robot domination. My goodness. I was just getting this kind of mental image of someone breaking into your house, stumbling into your garage, and seeing all of these humanoid robots in the half darkness.
So
Oh my
actually,
goodness.
it's funny that you should mention that because I have a two-car garage that will never ever see a car inside of it. It's just a robot lab, and sometimes working in the summer, I'll open the garage door because it's hot in there and it's uninsulated. And neighbors will be walking their dog and they'll look in and like, what the hell? There's a Mars rover replica in there, and there's a flame-throwing V8 engine and 10 odd humanoids that are this tall, and there's one humanoid that's 6 feet tall. And I'm that neighbor. Most of the people in the hood stay away.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Well, if you just tuned in, you're listening to This Week in Science with, right now, Blair Basderich and David Calkins. And I think it's time for a little Blair's Animal Corner. Again, we don't have any music, but it's time to talk about some animals. Are you ready? Yes. Awesome. So, first, right off, scorpions and kind of different gender roles for scorpions. Pretty exciting. Males and females have very different fighting strategies. In bark scorpions, they were looking at specifically, and some researchers from Pennsylvania State University looked at the differences between male and female scorpions when threatened and when they have quote sexual or when they have environmental pressures dependent on this on their sex. So female scorpions, they're actually pregnant. I didn't know this. They're pregnant 80% of the year. So they're larger than males. They also are carrying babies most of the time. So they're not the best at running away. And so what they found is that the females deal with threats differently than males. The males are much more quick to flee a dangerous situation. The females are much more likely to fight. The females, in fact, were very poor at sprinting because they had a higher body mass while pregnant. And so they sting very rapidly, and they're highly aggressive. The females, every female stung at least once during the sting speed trials that they performed, and only 64% of males did. That's a pretty big difference, that many of the males chose to run instead of sting, and every single female stung at least once. So it's pretty interesting that the females definitely chose a different strategy in the fight or flight situation. Their instincts were different because their physiology didn't allow for them to get away. So, pretty cool. And then, what else do I have? I have fruit flies. They're more smart than we thought, actually. They appear to show evidence of thinking before making decisions, which
Which is more than most humans can say.
well, for sure. And most fruit flies, most scientists had thought that fruit flies are mostly acting on instincts, and it's a lot of just kind of reactions in the brain that when they were exposed to stimuli, they just reacted automatically. They were pre-programmed to respond to the stimuli in a certain way. But it looks as though fruit flies are thinking. They can distinguish between concentrations of odor. So this is what they do. They put the fruit flies in a tube, and they put two different odors at each end of the tube. And they had programmed these flies. They had trained the flies to recognize a certain odor as dangerous. It didn't say in the report how they did that, but I'm assuming there was some sort of threat related to the smell. And then at the other end, they had the smell of food. And so they looked at when these two scents were very different, and then the flies made their decision almost immediately. And when the two scents were more similar, it took way longer for them to decide where to go, which means they were actually, quote, deciding where to go, which is pretty cool. They're not just acting on automatic impulses. In fact, they're processing information and then reacting. It's pretty unusual. And they also confirmed this by finding the gene, a FOXP gene, active in a small set of around 200 neurons. They found that gene was responsible for the decision-making process in the fruit fly brain. And then they looked at flies that had mutations on that FOXP gene, and the mutations, when they had the mutations, it took them way longer to make their decision. They became indecisive and they made the wrong decision more often. So definitely there is this one gene that is affecting their decision-making skills, which also indicates that they are, in fact, processing information and making a decision. Pretty wild.
Better than politicians.
Ha! And I see we have Justin here. Hi, Justin.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, good. How's the show going? Hi, David.
So
Hi, Pumpkin.
far, so good. We just started into the corner. We talked about robots a little bit.
Yeah. Thinking fruit flies, huh?
Thinking fruit flies. And I have some more stories for the second half of the show, but first I just want to talk about evolution, one of my favorite things. Evolution. So they found crickets in 2 places in Hawaii have both fallen silent. Yeah, so
isn't that the sign of something? That's when you're supposed to head for higher ground, move away from the ocean, maybe leave that area completely, because isn't that one of those animal signs that disaster is impending?
it would be, except these crickets have evolved out of their sound-making wings altogether.
What?
Yeah. So
They couldn't take the criticism?
Yeah.
They didn't want to be blamed for anything.
Yeah, exactly. The female crickets kept saying that they didn't like their singing voice, so they just stopped.
Oh.
Exactly.
There was no auto-tune in Hawaii?
Exactly. So this is a really new form of convergent evolution that we've seen actually really recently. Just 10 years ago, crickets started showing up without wings. And so these crickets on Hawaii are being predated upon, or parasitized, I guess, by killer flies. The killer flies can listen to crickets. When they hear the crickets, the flies will, a pregnant female fly will fly over the cricket, spray baby maggots onto the cricket's back. They burrow into the cricket. They feed on the insides of the cricket and then emerge a week later, leaving a dead husk of a cricket.
You know, the next time you think you're having a bad day,
Yeah.
right? Think about this. At least I'm not getting sprayed by maggots that are going to burrow in and leave me an empty husk. At least that's not happening to me today.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless that is happening to you today, in which case I'm dead.
You just don't know it.
Oh, good Lord. Sorry for the nightmares, everybody. So these crickets, they're originally from Australia. They're invasive in Hawaii. But these flies are from North America, also invasive on Hawaii.
Interesting.
And so this interaction is 100% new. This is not something that's been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. This is a recent interaction that these animals have had to cope with. So in less than 20 generations,
Wild.
in less than 20 generations, over 90% of the crickets on the island of Kauai do not have the special wings that make them sing.
Evolution, baby. Look at it right there.
Yeah, you're watching it in real time.
Yeah.
There was something about lizards a while back, that lizards in Africa had grown stomachs, that they were introduced there, and they were non-native. And these particular lizards didn't have stomachs. I don't know the exact details of it. But again, it was like 15, 20 generations. They had evolved to have stomachs.
It's almost like extreme environmental pressure will cause selection by nature for new traits. How interesting. Yeah.
Where can we call a system like that? Whether it's something
What could it
Robots.
be?
You see, with robots, you can evolve immediately. You just download a new program.
Oh my goodness. I just hope they don't start upgrading themselves, then we're all in trouble. But so it's so interesting because these quiet crickets, they are having trouble finding females now because that's how they call in the females, is with their song.
They're texting.
Right. Well, they're actually vulturing other crickets' dates. So they hang around the few males, the 10% that are still making sound.
Wouldn't that make them then?
As they come close. But
Kind of like a
now,
pub. But I don't know. Is it me that's falling out of sync? But Blair
hello?
keeps freezing. Yeah, you keep. Oh, there she went. And
Yeah, I think Blair's bumping off.
Okay. I'm here now.
Okay, wait. You got to start over there because you were. And then there she went again. Nope, she's back. No, she's good. She's.
I'm here.
I believe you.
She's evolving. She's evolving.
Okay, so anyway.
So wait a sec. So they huddle around a few singing members that are left, and then what happens?
So they hang around the 10% that are still singing, and then when the females come by, attracted to the song, they pounce on the females as they approach.
Like at a bar.
Exactly. They're vulturing like they're at a bar.
You got one lounge act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brings in the crowd, and then you got all the lounge lizards that go around.
Lounge crickets.
Lounge crickets.
Exactly. Yep.
That'd
And
be a
so
good band name.
what's so cool too is that just 2 years after they found these silent crickets on Kauai, they found some on Oahu, and they're fairly certain these two populations of silent crickets evolved independently. So not only did we see the evolution happen in real time, but it has happened twice in the same area, but not in the exact same space. So we've seen convergent evolution happen in real time, which is insane, and I love it. It's fantastic.
I wonder how this bodes for that cricket population, though. I mean, how long can? Because what happens when that 10% is gone? Like, do they just gotta live closer together, not have as big a territory, so they're easier to find each other? Does it all just fall apart?
So
Maybe they evolve a poison that kills the parasites.
They certainly could, but there's other populations of animals. There's other types of animals where there's a fringe population with extreme traits to attract females, and then there's the rest of them are kind of normal. And then there's some that have all different kinds. For example, there's types of fish that have a very small percentage that are these big, bulky males. They court the females. They kind of block them away from the other males, but then there are these tiny males called sneaker males that look like females, hang out where their harem is, and steal the ladies when they have a moment. So there's definitely the possibility that this could make a kind of dimorphism within the male crickets that is sustained. It is possible.
Well, parasites are a thing that we all have to live with, so hopefully the crickets will figure that out. We all have to live with parasites.
Jeez.
Nobody
oh my
likes
goodness.
So, for those who are listening and can't see, an evil-looking puppet just showed up.
Is he from the Labyrinth?
No, he's from Jabba's court.
Oh.
Yeah.
My goodness, I totally recognize him now. I couldn't tell.
Parasites. You see, you bring up one parasite and you attract another.
It's fantastic. Well, I think it's time for the break. So stay tuned for more This Week in Science, and we'll be back in a couple minutes with some more great science news. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Take it to the bridge.
I will take it to the bridge. All right. Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks with over 150,000 different titles in a variety of genres. TWIS has found many science-based books in the Audible library. You can start a free trial today and get any audiobook download for free and support TWIS at the same time. All you have to do is sign up at audiblepodcast.com/TWIS. Go to audiblepodcast.com/TWIS now for your free download. TWIS also has merchandise you might enjoy. Head over to twist.org to buy some of our swag. We now have a things we try to do for the show. We appreciate any amount, $2, $5, $10, $100, $1,000. You can make this show possible. We currently accept donations a couple of ways. First, we have PayPal donation buttons on each show page on our website, www.twist.org. Or, second, we have started a Patreon account at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. That's patreon.com/thisweekinscience, which is kind of like Kickstarter for media producers, where you can get stuff in return for your donation. Whichever your preference, go to the website, listen to the most recent episode, comment on the show, and make a donation. Can't afford a donation? We can always use your help to get more people listening to and watching TWIS. Use your social networks for science and tell people to tune in to This Week in Science. We thank you for your support, and we couldn't do it without you.
Hooray!
And we're back! You're listening to This Week in Science. Justin will join us in just a minute, but until then, David, do you have any more stories for us?
You got your bee story. Did we do the bee story?
No, we didn't do bees yet. So that's kind of a short and sweet one. It was something I was kind of surprised by. Actually, Time Magazine reported this week. French bees produce blue honey. Mars Incorporated may have something to do with it. It's pretty interesting. In France, beekeepers have noticed blue and green honey in their honey collections. And in the town of Ribeauville, in the northeastern region of Alsace, they found this blue and green honey. And they think it has something to do with the biogas plant that processes waste from an M&M's factory. So all of those colored candies that we get might be doing something else to the environment. Pretty interesting.
This actually makes perfect sense to me. I keep bees in my backyard, so I have 2 beehives. And it's an interesting thing when you collect the honey out of the different slats. You can see the color gradient, and you can taste the difference based on when the bees collected it. So in the earlier year, like when the blackberries are in blossom, you can taste the honey, and it has a blackberry flavor to it and a lighter color to it. And when flowers are in blossom later in the year, like orchids and things, if they're darker, you can see a darker color, and you can taste some orchid remnant in there. And throughout the year, and even when we spin it down, we've got this big centrifuge, it separates based on color and flavor, and it's a really nifty thing. So it makes perfect sense that if the bees are out shopping at Blue M&M Landia, that the honey would be blue.
Wow. Yeah, so I had no idea. I've never kept bees before, but I guess that does make perfect sense. This waste treatment plant, it looks like they have some byproducts that are getting out, and it's sugar-based. And so I guess what's happening is that because of maybe difficult winters or weird harvests for the bees, they're going for this source, the sugary stuff that has some sort of color remnants in it. So the company that it looks like was responsible says they're going to work on sealing things a little bit better, and that hopefully it's not going to turn around, or it's going to turn around now, and we won't see any more oddly colored honey. The beekeepers did say it tastes pretty similar, but it just is not going to sell because it looks funny.
I don't know.
I have this vision of an unemployed bee with a little sign, we'll work for M&Ms.
Oh my goodness.
I could see blue honey having its niche market. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, I mean, just think of all like the new chefs now. That if you could have blue honey or red honey or purple honey to accent your plates.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much what that's about. Pretty simple open close case. They figured it out. They fixed it. So I guess this is kind of a happy story. Is that it appeared to be from this plant. They went to the plant. The plant said, "Okay, we'll fix it," and they fixed it. It's quite interesting that they totally caved. They didn't say, "Oh, it's not us. You have no proof." They just said, "Okay, we'll just work on sealing these things a little bit better."
You have to wonder what else they're not sealing.
That is true. It does kind of concern me about that a little bit. It's when we are not getting direct products from these animals that might be getting pollution from plants that are upstream, there could be effects we have no idea about. And this was just one of those things because we're using these animals to harvest something, and there was a visible change that we took we kind of took to arms and went to fix it. But yeah, there's all sorts of potential for things to be going into the water or going into the land from factories and us not knowing what it's doing until it's visible, which is quite a bit.
Yeah, and at that point, really pinpointing anything is going to be really difficult.
Yeah, totally. So, Justin, did you bring any stories this week?
Nope.
None.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, no, I did bring one.
I was like, I can keep talking. Go ahead.
So
What do
here,
you got?
this kind of pertains a little bit to what you were talking about with the flies making decisions based on scent.
Mhm.
This is in the open access journal Frontiers of Ecology and Evolution. They've got the first known case where 4 separate species, all at different levels of the food chain, are using a single odor, either to communicate or exploit each other. So this says here, plant-feeding insects are often attracted to odors that are released by damaged plant tissues because these plants are already under attack, and so this is an easy meal. It's a good place to find food. It's kind of a social hookup. You might find other insects buzzing around it. Might be a good place to lay your eggs. So the jumping plant louse, Diaphorina citri, hones in on the odor, and that is released by young leaves of citrus trees, whose sap is the only food for the young lice. But there's other species that have evolved the capacity to take advantage of this attraction. One of them is a bacterium. Bacteria Candidatus liberacta, it's a big word. It infects citrus trees specifically. It hijacks this odor production and forces it to release the scent or to mimic an attack by plant lice. Then the jumping plant lice fly towards the smell. They will not find enough food there because the bacteria has lowered the nutritional quality of the infected leaves. And this trick forces the lice to quickly seek out another tree, again, this time with the bacterium hitching a ride on their body. This is how the bacteria can infect the next tree. Wow. So it itself isn't, it itself can't do the damage to create the odor release from the citrus tree, but by mocking the smell of an ailing, damaged tree, it attracts the parasites, which then don't find that the damage, so they have to go on, and then the bacteria gets to infect. Then comes the wasp, Tamarixia radiata, which lays its eggs on young jumping plant lice, so that the wasp larvae then feeds on them. They discovered in the University of Florida, they asked whether the wasp is attracted to the odor of the damaged citrus tree while hunting for plant lice. They placed female wasps in an olfactometer. Y-shaped device delivers 2 opposing airflows, each carrying a different odor. The wasps had the choice of flying towards the citrus tree odor or to a control. Wasps were strongly attracted to the smell of both the bacteria-infected and louse-infested citrus plants. So regardless if it was the bacteria or the parasite, the wasp was still attracted to it. Further experiment revealed that the wasps were more likely to find and attack young plant lice on plants infected with the bacteria or on plants that had been treated with the odor. This proves that the wasp finds its prey by eavesdropping on the odor signal, either from bacteria or the citrus trees, to find its prey, the lice. Wow. So
Wow.
there is a that's a pretty multi-tiered.
There's a frog on the bump on the log and the hole in the bottom of the sea.
Is there? That's too also amazing to me. That's
That's kind of what that sounded like to me. It was pretty crazy.
right.
It's all connected, man. It's all connected.
Like the fruit flies.
Yeah. Goodness. What else you got, Justin?
What else I got? Let's see. People who have disorders of compulsivity share common brain patterns and brain structure with each other. And whether it's binge eating, substance abuse, the obsessive compulsive disorder of having to do things in numbers and patterns, or cleaning or washing hands compulsively, they have a common pattern of decision-making similarities in brain structure, according to new research from the University of Cambridge, published studied in the journal Molecular Psychiatry. Researchers showed that people who are affected by the disorders have lower gray matter volumes and brain regions involved in keeping track of goals and rewards. That's kind of interesting.
Wow.
Right? It's something that, I had never heard associated with compulsive behaviors. But I guess if you sort of take away the progression of getting towards a goal, like you have a goal, I should wash my hands. You accomplish that by washing your hands. Your part of your brain tracks that you did it and rewards you with, good, I've done it.
I'm clean now.
I'm clean now. But if you have that goal and you go and wash your hands and your brain doesn't reward, doesn't give you a good job, no gold star for you, right? And then maybe even forgets that it's accomplished or is stopped paying attention to the end of the act and has still got the message in there that you should wash your hands. Wow, yeah, that would be really annoying.
That's, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Do you think that could lead, I wonder if it could lead to a way to help treat that? I assume it would. The more we can understand where it comes from, probably the better we can try to fix it.
Possibly. It says that researchers demonstrated that all of these disorders that they were checking were connected by a shift in the brain away from goal-directed behaviors, because if you have goal-directed behaviors and you can never accomplish them, it would be just completely frustrating, towards automatic habitual choices. So interesting. So you can't set your planner to achieve a specific thing, so you just have it on autocomplete. It's going to keep showing up, though, I guess, whenever it chooses to.
Unless you shake maggots on them and they eat themselves from within.
That's a cure for everything. That's actually we should figure out how to create something like that and use that as in our Justice Department as a way to forget the death penalty. No, nobody's scared of that anymore. That's something really horrible, like devoured by maggots who will leave you a empty husk.
I wonder about this kind of link in the brain, and this is totally a Kiki question.
Right?
Shoot, but
it's really too bad that she's not here, because this is the perfect Kiki question.
Oh my goodness! So I wonder if it's related at all, or this could be some interesting research to if the same deficiencies in the OCD brain. Seems like it might have something to do with certain addictions as well, especially like overeating, right?
Because overeating, drug abuse.
If you eat, you should feel satiated, and you should feel there should be a release of dopamine. Okay, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm content. But when you eat, people that overeat, they eat past being full. They eat past where they're supposed to be eating. So you could see that being definitely similar. See, it could be totally different. It could be exactly the same. But I don't know if they've looked at that very much. That would be interesting to see.
All right. They sort of say that, yeah, rather than a person making a choice based on what they think will happen, their choices become automatic and habitual. Hmm. So,
Hmm.
yeah, if you're eating habitually without a reward system, I could see, yeah, that overeating could totally become a problem. It's just an automatic. I mean, that's part of the thing is that we don't consciously even decide that we're hungry or that we're full. There's part of our brain that's doing a punish reward thing, right? Oh, you feel hungry. Well, what do you mean you feel hungry? Well, my stomach is kind of nodding on me. I'm getting a headache. Whatever it is that the sensation does. And then when you eat, you get this little dopamine release. You get this opium and brain injection thing takes place, and you feel good at having eaten your food, right? But if you don't have that, if you don't have that reward, how do you know you've done it enough? Should I keep doing this with the fork? It's a mechanical action now. You're missing some of the feedback in that loop
Right.
that tells you, you know what? I probably don't need to do heroin today. I probably, you know what? Maybe 50 times a day is too often to wash my hands. They're probably still clean enough. I should just stop doing it.
Goodness. Well, speaking of addiction, are you addicted to taking pictures on your phone? Because it's bad for your memory.
Ooh.
Huh?
Yeah.
What? What were we talking about?
If you take too many pictures on your phone, you won't remember what you're taking a picture of.
What? What are you talking about?
Oh my goodness. Which I definitely have noticed in my own life as well, that when you're looking at things through a screen, that's kind of what I thought it was about. When you're looking at things through a screen, you just don't notice details as much. You're a little more focused on taking the picture than looking at the thing, which they've found from the University of Connecticut. It's somewhat true. They looked at the photo taking impairment effect. So people have a harder time remembering something because they took too many pictures. So they had subjects go through a museum, an art museum, and take pictures of the stuff that they saw, or just go through and look at things. And what they found was that people who took pictures of the stuff remembered fewer details. They didn't remember where a statue's hands were positioned or what the statue had on their head. But once they looked at a picture, they went, "Oh, I remember this." So there was kind of a trigger of the picture when they saw the picture, but they weren't relying on their own sense of memory.
You're not remembering it. You're seeing it right now. That's not fair. You're seeing it. How can you not remember it now? You're looking at it.
But I mean, I could kind of see that in a sense because I know from experience with videography that watching something through a video screen, I'm using a different part of my brain than watching it normally. If I'm tape recording something, like I've taped a lot of robot events, I'm watching for different things than when I'm just watching with my own eyes. And the same is true if you're judging something, you're looking for different things. So I think your memory is different. So to me, that makes sense, although I think the cause and effect is a little different. It's not so much that using the camera is making you have a bad memory, it's that you're using a different part of your brain to begin with when you use the camera.
See, I'm terrible. I use my camera very little. And I consciously have thought, I'm here now, I'm going to be here now, right? Versus, yeah, like taking the picture is almost like I'm not here now. I'm there later. I'm right there later when I'm going to think back on this and look back on it and want to see a picture of it. But so it's like whenever I've been to a concert where people got like their phone, they got the video, they're videoing the concert. You're not getting the sound through that thing. You're not getting the ambiance. You're not there right now with the thousands of people at this concert. You're somewhere else. You might as well be at home watching it on a bad TV at that point.
Yeah, and what the main point of the story was, and it was kind of the point of my disclaimer too, was that it's a lot more important to experience what you're doing now than worry about how you're going to remember it later. So thinking about being an active part also, because if you're taking pictures, you're stepping out of whatever's happening. But if you put the smartphone down, you get to participate in whatever you might have been taking a picture in. And you get to use all of the parts of your brain to remember that, instead of using parts of your brain to figure out how to frame the picture or focus in or who to send it to. So it's something that, obviously, with the young children today, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. But it's time
Kids
to...
these days don't remember nothing anyways.
This all goes away, Blair. This problem completely goes away and is solved by Google Glasses having a live stream video thing going on.
So then you'll
can just
never
look around
remember
and
anything.
You don't have to look through the thing over here and hit. It's just gonna do it. You're just gonna be videoing everything all the time. It's all being recorded. You don't have to think about it or step out of the moment.
But that means you're going to be taking pictures always. This was my main concern about Google Glass, is that through Google Glass, you're looking through something at the world all the time, so you will never be an active participant, or you'll be an active participant
You
a
just
lot
set it up
less.
automatically, so you don't have to consciously set up a frame or anything. It's just, every 5 seconds it takes a picture.
Because we're not lazy enough as it is.
Right? And then you can go back and scroll through your day and be like, oh, wait a second. What was that article I read? Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, right there. Oh, yeah, that's what I misremembered this part, but I can see there from the picture my glasses took while I was reading it what it says now.
So we're going to have Google Glass to take pictures for us. We're going to have robots to go get our beer. We're going to be in trouble.
No, this is the liberation of humanity from having to do all those pesky little human things.
That's what you call it.
But those pesky little human things are what makes us human. Isn't that the whole point? Then if we're being liberated from humanity, then we're not human.
No, this is the whole point. Humanity made it through a very narrow path of extinction. All of our cousins from the early days of humanity, going back perhaps a species name or two. We're the only survivors. Most of them didn't make it. Our closest lineage we split from many millions of years ago. We're lucky to even be here. Our entire existence on planet Earth right now is because we've become less and less human with time. And the less human we are, the longer we'll exist and the better our lives will be. Like when we stumbled upon this trait, this ability to reason, this tool, it completely separated us, or began to separate us from the animal kingdom. And we've applied it now to our daily lives to a degree where we can see 150 billion galaxies that you couldn't see with the naked eye. We delve down into the inner workings of fabric of the universe to see how energy works and what it's made up of, matter. And we've built a society. We've created a pretty predictable sort of an existence for ourselves out of utter, total natural chaos. So I never have a problem with becoming less human. I think that should be a big part of our goal. Actually, as humans, is to continue to improve our lot.
So says Mr. Science Island. It's interesting dichotomy there. Do you have any more stories, either of you?
If we could fight wars Tesla's way through robot games, right? This would be the next level. Is we get the humans completely out of the picture, and we send our machines out there against each other. You see who builds the better machine? Let the machines fight.
Where would we do this, Justin?
I don't know. Where's the
You're
venue?
everywhere.
David probably knows a better venue than I do. I think I went to one at a dock in San Francisco.
That was mine.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was totally awesome. There was soccer. There was sporting events going on. There was wrestling matches. There was a death cage.
That was mine. You're right there.
Yeah, that was a fantastic event. I loved it. I brought my son to it. We had a total blast that day. I got my ass handed to me by a robotic arm that was better at chess than me, which is that was a smart. They're not usually that good, but this one, and it moved the pieces. It wasn't on a screen; it was physically there.
Ouch.
I remember that robot very well. It won the gold medal that year.
Yeah, it was
Art
fantastic. I was certain I was going to be able to beat it by moving some of the pieces around too, and it caught me.
Robots know when you're cheating.
They know when you're cheating. It's just like moved it back. Like, oh, come on.
Goodness. Well, we'll
So for
see
those
where we end up.
I got one more. So for those
Yeah.
who like hacking, this is kind of the ultimate hacker thing of taking over somebody else's equipment in a good way. So in the 1970s, NASA launched 3 robots called the International Sun-Earth Explorers, ISEEs. One of those was ISEE-3. And the whole goal of the satellite was at first to watch sunstorms and sunspots and see what effect they had on the Earth's magnetic fields and communications and things like that. And when it was done with that, it went and chased Halley's Comet to find out exactly what the comet was composed of and how that affected the Earth. And then NASA basically let it go. And it had just been hanging out in orbit around the sun. It was in a sun orbit, not an Earth orbit, for the last 20-odd years. Alive, but it was very much an old-school satellite that was remote-controlled, and so you'd send signals up to it and say, do this thing, and it would do that thing at that time, but it wasn't programmable. So anyways, a couple of months ago, as the satellite was approaching, there was a Kickstarter by a group of just normal civilians who said, hey, we want to take over the satellite. It's still good, it's still functional, but NASA has abandoned it for the last 15 years. But we want it. And so they raised $150,000, and NASA said, sure, it's yours. And so now these guys just today took control of this satellite as it was approaching the Earth, and now they're in control of it, and they're going to be repurposing it and doing more experiments, and end users such as you and me can log in and offer suggestions about different things that the satellite can study. And it's now in the hands of civilians. It's just old satellite that's been beaten around. So, I mean, think of the possibilities here of the number of satellites that are up there that aren't doing anything, that if you raise enough money and you've got a good business case or science case, you could take over a satellite. And they're already up there, and you think about all the space junk out there. Just imagine the possibilities here. And just this single instance of now there's these group of pretty much retired engineers who can take over the satellite and are taking it over. They just today managed to confirm transmission to and from the satellite with them, and they're retasking it. So they weren't sure if it was going to crash into the moon or they were just going to lose it back into solar orbit. But now they've got it and they're retasking it. It's got enough fuel for quite a bit of movement, and they're going to send it around and do some more experiments.
That's awesome.
That's great. Sweet. Justin, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, I have one last one. And this was one that could have been super long or could have been super short, so we'll have to go for super short. So, in April, there was a letter in Science arguing that alternative methods of documentation, like high-resolution photography, audio recordings, and non-lethal tissue sampling for DNA analysis, made field collection of animal and plant specimens unnecessary.
Wow.
It also claimed that the collection of animal and plant specimens could be linked to certain extinctions, and that it is detrimental to the overall population of those animals being collected. Now there has been a rebuttal posted by many scientists working collectively together. About 100 biologists and biodiversity researchers work together on the rebuttal. And basically they're saying, first of all, it's not the case that it's affecting animal extinctions, endangerments, threatenings, anything like that. The specific species pinpointed in the paper don't show any correlation between when specimens were taken and the subsequent extinction of those animals. For example, if I can find the actual numbers, great ox. There were millions of great ox harvested for food, oil, and feathers, but only about
Feathers?
100 and only 102 in scientific collections. Ox look kind of like penguins; they can fly and swim.
Oh, ox. I thought you said ox.
Oh, not OXS, AUKS. So sorry.
Ox.
Yes, AUKS ox.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was picturing like a musk ox, and all of a sudden, bam, it had feathers on it. I'm like, wow, that did go extinct because I have
That's a
never
cool
seen
ox.
those.
Feathered ox. No, AUKS, penguin-like birds. They were harvested for all sorts of things, but only 102 currently exist in scientific collections. Not a lot. And Mexican elf owls, common. They were collected as specimens about 1896 to 1930 something, and they didn't go extinct until 1970. And that was mostly related to habitat degradation and predation by invasive species. So these are the two big species they pointed out in the article in April, and so that doesn't really make sense that scientific collections made 50 years prior could cause an extinction. That's not really how that works, especially with animals that don't live even 20 years. And then additionally, yeah, that only 100 specimens for a whole species is not going to make a large enough difference to make a species extinct. But what these specimens do in scientific collections is that they create a catalog of these species over time that is way more exact than any sort of collection, partial collection, or artificial collection that you can make. And that's because you don't know what you're going to study. All the time now, people come up with things in the wild, they go back to these specimens, they can measure beak length. For mammals, they can look at fur density, they can look at size, they can look at sexual organ size, they can look at bone density, they can look at all of these things from these collections that they couldn't have done if they didn't have the actual collections in the database. In fact, one of the things they're looking at in particular is that due to climate change, it looks like the overall size of mammals is going down. The body size of animals are declining, and it looks like it's correlated to climate change, but they would never know that if they weren't able to go back and look at specimens. Also, all the time they can de-extinct species. They think species are extinct. They find something in the wild that looks kind of like it, kind of not. They can look at the DNA of the stuff they have in the lab, or do comparisons based on their physiology, because so many species are defined based on physiology, and they can confirm, yes, this is this species, it's not extinct, we found it. And you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have real life samples to look at in these databases.
So why the argument against the fieldwork?
Because in this day and age, people think that some people believe that you shouldn't have to take a live animal, euthanize it, stuff it, and put it in a cabinet somewhere in a museum or.
Well, you don't have to put it in a cabinet, but at the same time, I think the opening gambit about crickets evolving on the fly shows why you still need to do field studies, because the samples we're taking today aren't the same genetic code of something 20 generations down. I mean, case in point with the crickets, if in 20 generations they change their chirping to evolve, then obviously they've got different DNA, and so I think field samples are still a good exercise. And further, when you're out trying to sample thing X, a lot of times you find thing Y that you never would have found if you weren't looking for thing X.
And actually, so even more interesting, David, but to your point, they could have the same DNA. So if you were doing only a genetic study, if you looked at those crickets before and after, the DNA might be exactly the same in terms of what's there, But if something's become inactive or
Right.
activated,
One gene is being expressed or not expressed.
Right.
Yep.
then you would have absolutely no difference between those species whatsoever if you didn't do the field work, if you didn't do the study, if you didn't have a physical specimen. You could say, well, I guess they've always been silent.
I totally agree. And you wouldn't even know that they were silent if you weren't doing field studies.
Right, yeah, you wouldn't even know what to be studying, right? Yeah, I think that sounded like a very bogusy argument against science in general.
It sounds more like the bogusy argument of, well, we love animals, which I do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to better help us stop being douchebags, which we are, as a race, we have to study the animals and say, hey, this is worth saving.
And if you really love nature, stay away from it. Stay
Well,
away. Go to the most
ultimately-
urbanized area you can find with the highest population density and live there so as not to impact nature any further.
Well, and it's
concrete
always
jungles.
good to take a step back and think about things like all of our medicines. That a lot of those things got tested on animals. Those animals did not end up on a farm upstate afterwards. So there's definitely animal life loss in the name of science. So the question is it worthwhile? Is it important to keep going? And so I think that is the whole point of the article that came out in April. And I think it's valuable to ask these questions. It's totally valuable to ask, do we still need to be taking specimens, taxidermying shrews, and collecting them over the years? And it's important to look at it, decide. But I think my opinion and the opinion of these scientists is yes, it's still important.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, you're not likely to find a whole lot of disagreement here.
No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so last chance, last call for science this week.
Well, if you're going to put the screws to me like that, Oregon State University, they found some 15 to 20 million year old amber from the Dominican Republic. And in that, there was a tick trapped in the amber. And they could tell within there were cells that looked very much like Lyme disease. Yeah. So Lyme disease may have been, this is something we discovered in the 70s. You get, a tick gets it. It happens to be something that I guess is associated with deer ticks more than anything else. Areas with large populations of deer, you have a higher percentage chance of getting Lyme disease. But yeah, it's been around for at least 15 to 20 million years.
I think that's probably true of a lot of diseases, that they've always been around and we're just slowly learning what they are and that they are around.
Yeah. And a lot of them probably, too, have been around not being very diseasey. Diseasey? Not really causing much, harm to whatever native animal population evolved around it. They probably had responses to it that prevented them from dying from it or getting ill from it even. But then, the wider population, humans didn't used to live everywhere, go everywhere, and mix up, the ecosystem the way we do. So a lot of species, like the crickets and the flies in Hawaii, neither of them are native species, and yet here they are.
Interesting. All right. Well, it's time to wrap this guy up and send him home. All right. So thanks to David for joining us. That was absolutely awesome. Did you have a good time, David?
I had a great time.
Fantastic. Well, a shout out to you then for stepping in when Dr. Kiki's out. I think it's fantastic.
Happy to help.
On next week's show, we should all be back, all three of us, Dr. Kiki, Justin, and myself. And once again, we will be broadcasting live at 8 o'clock p.m. PST, Pacific Time, on TWIS.org/live, where you can watch and join our chat room. But don't worry if you can't make it. You can find our past episodes at youtube.com/thisweekinscience or TWIS.org. TWIS.org/YouTube also works. Don't forget to tell a friend about TWIS and to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/thisweekinscience.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. We hope you enjoyed it. TWIS is also available as a podcast. Just Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory, or if you have a mobile device, you can look for TWIS for Droid in the Android marketplace, or TWIS, TWIS, in the Apple marketplace.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website, www.twis.org. That's TWIS.org, where you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts and other listeners.
Or you can contact us directly. Email Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, or Blair at blairbaz@twist.org. Just be sure to put TWIS in the subject line so your email doesn't get spam filtered into oblivion. You can also hit us up on the Twitter, where we are at TWIScience, at Dr. Kiki, at JacksonFly, and at Blair's Menagerie. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, please let us know.
We'll be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for some more great science news.
And if you've learned anything from today's show, remember,
it's all in your head. We don't have music, so I'm just gonna...
Should we pretend to dance? Are they going to put the music in later, and then we were just like, oh, there's music. We don't care. We don't care about the music.
I don't know. I don't think
there's-
he does on the YouTube, but I think she does on
It's
the...
going to be in the podcast,
iTunes,
but there's really
yeah.
no point in us dancing now,
Yes.
because that would just be silly.
What is this interesting sound in the background?
I believe that my
You
houseboat.
left your robot running? Oh.
My houseboat I think is untethered itself, and I may be going underneath the train bridge right now.
You're joking.
No, why would that be a joke? How could that be taken seriously, Blair? Come on. Who would joke about such a thing?
You're like, oh no, gotta go.
Gotta go. There's the shore going by my window. Yeah, I should probably.
Yep.
Things are getting a little rough too. I might be nearing that waterfall at the end of this water under a tunnel or a train bridge, and now I think things are calming down. I think
That's good.
yeah, all right.
That's good. So Identity 4 said that I broke up in the middle of the ad section in the middle, so I'm going to read all that again. So I'm giving you both a free pass to exit at this point if you want to, but I definitely need to do
Thanks,
that.
everybody.
Thanks, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, so I'm going to read this again. All right. Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks with over 150,000 different titles in a variety of genres. TWIS has found many science-based books in the Audible library. You can start a free trial today and get any audiobook download for free and support TWIS at the same time. All you have to do is sign up at audiblepodcast.com/TWIS. Go to audiblepodcast.com/TWIS now for your free download. That's audiblepodcast.com/TWIS.
The unfortunate I did. Go ahead.
What? I wasn't done.
Oh, well, okay, because it was...
Now you have to talk, because I think I have to start over again, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, because, you froze again.
Oh, man, really?
Yeah, it was brief.
It
but-
doesn't want me to get a sponsor.
No, try again.
All right. Are you messing with me right
I
now?
was going to, but then I figured out I interrupted, and I didn't, which I
Oh,
didn't
my
need
God.
to do.
Okay,
No,
well,
you
I have to
didn't- you
start
didn't-
over again
you didn't.
anyway now.
You didn't. You didn't freeze. You were fine. I was gonna make you do it again, but I didn't realize I broke into the half. I've never seen the middle
You've
part. I always.
Never seen. There's 4. There's 4 ads that I
Are
read.
there? We have ads.
Well, just listen and learn.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be
All right.
informative.
All right. Sorry, ID4. I'm doing this again. All right. Audible podcast. No, that's not what I was supposed to say.
Is there a script? Do you need
Edit
help?
point.
Let me look at the.
Edit point. All right.
Is there a script?
Yeah, it's in the purple.
Oh my gosh! Look at all that.
Okay, can I go now?
That's a
Can I
ton
do
of
this?
stuff.
All right. Shh. All right. Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks with over 150,000 different titles in a variety of genres. TWIS has found many science-based books in the Audible library. You can start a free trial today and get any audiobook download for free and support TWIS at the same time. All you have to do is sign up at audiblepodcast.com/TWIS. Go to audiblepodcast.com/TWIS now for your free download. TWIS also has merchandise you might enjoy. Head over to twis.org to buy some of our swag. We now have a link on our website that goes directly to our Zazzle store. So go to twis.org and click on that Zazzle store link in the menu bar to start buying now. TWIS is supported by listeners like you. Your donations pay for our hosting, bandwidth, contractors we need to hire, and fun things we need to do for the show. We appreciate any amount. $2, $5, $10, $100, $1,000? You make this show possible. We currently accept donations a couple of ways. First, we have PayPal donation buttons on each show page on our website, www.twis.org. Or, second, we have started a Patreon account at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. That's patreon.com/thisweekinscience, which is kind of like Kickstarter for media producers, where you can get stuff in return for your donation. Whichever your preference, go to the website, listen to the most recent episode, comment on the show, and make a donation. Can't afford a donation? We can always use your help to get more people listening to and watching TWIS. Use your social networks for science and tell people to tune in to This Week in Science. We thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you. Sweet. Now you can talk.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
I keep wanting us to do like that center, like a pre-recorded one, where it's like fake casual conversation. Man, I wish there was TWIS swag. Oh, there is. Haven't you seen it? No. Where would I see it? Oh, you go over to Zazzle.com. Oh, really? Where's that address again? With Zazzle.com? What? You know, like, it might be really annoying. The way
You know what, though? Podcasts, as a general rule, don't pre-record their sponsors.
Yeah, well, we should. Yeah, no, I like it when, and radio does that too. When you have live radio that's got a sponsor of the show itself, not just having someone who's booked time on the station. Sponsors of specific shows, the sponsors often read the sponsorship stuff. It's usually kind of annoying the way they do.
Well, gotta get money somewhere with all this free media.
Hot. It's so hot that, when I get home, it's so sweaty that I like to have a Blizzard air conditioner because they're the only company I found. No, they're paying you. Stop. Don't first person it.
Well, speaking of sponsorships, we've crossed the 150 patron mark, which is pretty cool on Patreon.
Super cool. Wow.
Yeah, I love it. So great. So.
Oh, I'm losing my.
Yeah, and to those people still watching, you might be interested that Kiki and I have been discussing some options for some other shorts in our future. I'm really excited.
You guys are going shopping for new shorts? I guess it is summer.
Yes, that's what I meant.
I guess it is summer. Time to start thinking about shorts.
You know what I meant, Justin.
Bikinis? So the different shorts. I would like to do shorts. I want to do a short. How come don't leave me out of the short doing?
Well, you have to get your butt to San Francisco then.
Oh, you guys live too far away. You should really consider.
You live too far away.
You live too far away.
We're in a metropolis.
Exactly. Nature lovers. Let me see.
Huh?
No,
What? That
no,
didn't
I
work.
didn't. Well, that didn't work. I'm trying to see, what is this? I don't want a Yahoo profile. Get away. Got too many other profiles.
There's Yahoo profiles now?
Yahoo. I like Yahoo. You came into this game 20 years too late. Stop. Nobody's going to have a Yahoo profile. Forget it. I'm trying to figure out what I did. Which email I've got. I sent those 23andMe people. Oh, I think that's the other one. I don't know.
I'm looking in the chat room. I've been so busy doing everything else that I didn't look in the chat room at all. Whoops.
When did I do the 23andMe thing? Has it been 5 weeks?
No, it's been like 2 weeks, if that. It's been like a week, hasn't it?
I don't know. I have obsessive compulsive memory.
I love that people spell my name wrong. In every facet of my life, my first name gets turned into so many weird things. It's Blar, it's Blari, it's Bliar, it's Ballier.
Blairla.
I do it
Isn't it Blairla?
all the
Is that
time.
an LA or an LAH?
Hmm. Okay. What do you have going on, Justin? Anything interesting to say before we all go to bed?
Go to bed. I'm going out. What are you talking about?
You're
Go to
going
bed?
out?
Yeah,
I'm going to bed.
I'm going out. It's too early to go to bed. What are you talking about? Barely even gotten dark here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's dark out. You're wrong.
Do I have to go? How are they going to tell me, like, come and check out your 23andMe thing, or what do I do?
I'm sure they'll tell you. You paid for it.
Should I just go to the website and keep refreshing? Maybe if I keep refreshing, they'll be like, okay, we better get on this one. Should do it right away. So what do you? How's work? How's your gig? How's your life? How you doing?
It's good. I'm working really hard. I'm trying to work less. I'm going to Israel again.
Oh, when's that?
End of June. I'm going to go for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do TWIS from there. But I'll be on a bus for a lot of the time, so I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
What email address? I don't think that's the right. Is that the email address I gave him? I don't think it was. No, it's not.
How about you? What's going on with you?
Are
Thursdays bad now?
Yeah, they're going to be bad every Thursday now, and it just depends on how busy things happen to be that day.
I was wondering if we should be switching days. Dun dun dun!
Yeah, it'll work.
Talk to Kiki about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chat room, are you guys freaking out about the idea of us changing days? I don't know which day would be better, though. I mean, like, Mondays, Tuesdays,
No.
Wednesdays.
Oh, Monday, Tuesdays? Yeah, Tuesdays.
I think I could do Tuesdays.
Tuesdays would totally work.
I mean,
Or would they? Tuesdays is a tough day, actually. Tuesdays have been really tough lately. I don't think I can do Tuesdays. Wednesdays.
My goodness. I'm just checking to make sure there's nothing super important in the chat room because I missed most of what happened in the chat room.
Yeah, no, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are tough because I've got kids like the whole day, especially come summer.
Yes, I don't know. We'll discuss. I just can't go any later.
Ooh, I've got a track my kit button. It arrived. Oh no.
Yeah, I need better
Oh no,
internet.
listen to this.
Mm?
All right, it processed through a United States Postal Service facility on the 20th. It departed that facility later that night. It arrived in some place called Bell Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
It was processed the next day and departed again the following morning. Then it arrived in Los Angeles at the unit, at the final destination. And then it says, business closed,
Hmm?
which I think means 23andMe no longer exists.
No, that's not what it means. It means it was closed for the day.
Oh.
So they're going to try it the next day.
Status of the item currently. Oh, so here, your item was delivered at 6:08 p.m. May 28th, which would have been yesterday evening.
Mm.
So it's there.
So
There
they
it is.
have your spit.
They've got my spit in the cup. Oh my goodness. Oh, come on, get on it, people. Let's start working. Start working.
Okay, I'm just about caught up in the chat room. Shnia.
That is cool. Wow. Tracked, that's UPS tracking too. That was pretty neat. It broke it down step by step where it's at. Huh.
Oh my god, Whiskey Grenade, why did you say you wanted to be encapsulated in amber?
Oh my gosh, they're gonna
Interesting,
close.
because look what I just got. I'm so excited.
Wait, what? Wait, hang on.
It's a book.
Dragonfly in Amber.
Yes.
What kind of book is it?
It's historical fiction slash science fiction slash a little bit of romance.
Aww.
No, not that kind of romance.
Huh?
You know.
What? Oh. Oh. Oh, is it one of those books?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't know what I'm saying. I have no idea what those kind of books even means.
All right. Anyway, really excited. It's the second book in the Outlander series, so I read the Outlander book and then I got all excited and I ordered some books. Yes.
Oh, too funny.
Kevin, why are you saying I need to take a course in improv? What does that mean?
Does that mean you don't tread water well? Where is that? Where do you see that? How come I don't see that?
It was all the way back at 21:24. It was 8 minutes ago.
Blair Bass needs to take a course in improv. Actually, I would recommend that for everybody. That is fun. Improv is a blast.
I don't really like the improv class where you're like, I have a gun. I'm not really into that.
Well, so part of the fun of improv is you have to sort of accept every suggestion, right? So if you say you have a gun, everybody's got to go along with you having a gun. Somebody can't just say, that's not a gun, that's just a banana. Or, what, like, you got to...
Yes, and. I know what yes, and is. I know about it.
Oh. So, but it's kind of, and then you're on stage in front of people, and you've got to continue to put a show on, even though there's no script. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I always enjoyed doing the improv. I wanted to run off to the second city theater in Chicago and do improv. But it was in Chicago.
In Chicago?
Yeah, that's where
I know, Second City. Yeah.
That's where all the Saturday Night Live people would come from.
And the Groundlings are there too, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to go because I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live and write sketches.
Gord, are you making fun of me because I read books made out of paper? Because I much prefer that. I have no interest in an e-reader. None. Now you guys are just being rude. I really need an improv class. That's rude. Goodness. Well, I'm tempted to go so I can read this.
All right, let's do a little improv now. We can do it right now. We can practice it right here.
All right, you have 5 of my minutes. Go.
All right, chat room. We need an occupation for Blair. Let's see. First one in with an occupation for Blair wins.
We have to wait for the lag.
Right, we gotta wait for the lag. So we'll need an occupation for her, a type of movie genre, some sort of movie genre what kind of movie genre we could be stuck in. And the last thing you would want to hear as the elevator door closes behind you. We'll roll with that. That'll be enough. No, pirate. Okay, you're a pirate.
Yeah, all
you're
right.
A pirate, zoologist, proctologist.
Pirate.
Pirate it is.
What's a roof roof layer? I thought it said roof lawyer. I'm like, what's a roof lawyer?
Oh no, those are big. Those are big. Okay, we got it. We've got noir.
Okay, pirate.
Pirate.
Noir.
It's a noir movie. Right? And the last thing you would want to hear is the elevator door closes behind you.
So does that mean we're incorporating that into the end of it?
That has to be
how it ends?
Yeah.
So then what are you?
Huh?
What are you in this?
Oh yeah, do I need to be a character?
You need a character.
I need an occupation. I need an occupation too. Okay, we'll get this. So the scene will start with that elevator will be fixed next week.
But then the elevator door closes at the end?
No, it doesn't have to have anything to do with the story. There's not an elevator.
No, but you said...
There's no elevator.
I'm confused. The thing you'd want to hear...
The last thing you'd want to hear as the elevator door closes behind you is just going to be the leaping off point for the story. We're going to start with that line.
Okay. All right. And it looks like you're an astronaut.
I'm an astronaut. All right.
Oh, I don't like doing accents. All right, fine.
You don't have to do an accent.
I'm a pirate. What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. We're boned. Okay.
I'm boned.
We're boned.
All right. Are you starting it? Start it.
Oh, that elevator will be fixed next week.
Buddy, I wanted to get my pirate some crackers.
Yeah, well, that's not a big deal for you, just getting crackers. I'm supposed to be going to a moon launch tomorrow.
That's nothing. You want me to go get crackers? Going up 3 flights with a peg leg?
Hey, look, you don't understand. There's people after me. I have to get off this planet. They think I killed somebody, but I didn't kill him. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. I was sleeping at the time. But it wasn't me, I'm telling you. Now they're after me. They think I killed them. They think it's me, but I'm innocent. I got to get to the moon. Can you help me?
How many men did you kill?
No, I didn't kill anybody. I'm innocent. I was framed. The mob is after me on one side. The police are trying to get me on the other. I got to get off this planet. Can you help me?
I see. I'm winking with my eye under the eye patch. Can you see it?
I can't see that eye.
I'm winking at you.
I'm surprised you have an eye. under that patch. That's the whole reason somebody wore an eye patch is because they had lost their eye. But I really
Well,
never.
it doesn't mean you can't blink, but where do you want to go?
Look anywhere. Look, if the elevator doesn't work, I'm not going to get to the launch pad. Where's this ship of yours?
Ah, you want to go out in me ship, do ya?
I just need to get away from these. There's people coming who are going to try to kill me or arrest me for a
Okay,
murder I
okay.
didn't do.
So what are you gonna do for me if I take you out in me ship?
What do you do on a pirate ship? Do you swap the deck? Do people still do that anymore? I don't. Do you row? Do you have to? Is there oars? Is it the guy
I
up top?
keep boys and a crew for that. What are you gonna do for me?
Up top. Up. Oh. Sorry. I misunderstood. I guess I could swap the deck.
You're gonna have to try harder than that, I think.
And cut. Good night, everybody.
Oh my god. Kiki's in the chat room.
Oh no, she didn't see that, did she?
I'm sure she did.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week on This Week in Improv.
Oh my god, should I invite her? I'll invite her to the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Usually, in improv, it would be sometimes helpful to have a third character who would come in and go freeze, and then we'd stop. It would change something about the scene.
I'm trying to figure out how to invite her now. This is so difficult. I'm slow, guys. Sorry. I'm slow with the Google. All right. So let's see. Where's Q? And I hit the little guy with the plus. And I Hangouts, new hangout, Kiki, and I write this. Okay. And I can also do this. There we go. Okay, I invited her. Let's see if she comes. Okay. Kiki, come on in. Otherwise, we're leaving.
She's got to hit all those extra buttons, find all those extra things. Takes a minute. It's like, are you sure you want to go? Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay. Goodness. Well, anywho.
I'm gonna be dreaming of pirates now. Really. That was an old dream of mine.
Oh
That was
boy.
an old dream.
Oh boy.
The all female pirate crew.
Oh, I was female? I didn't make that connection.
I just assumed. But
Okay.
that used to be the dream in the formative
The
years.
dream.
That was the dream.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe she's not coming.
Started out a night drinking in San Francisco.
Oh, she's still at her event.
What?
Kiki's still at her event. She's not going to come in.
Oh, she's just hacking in. Well, we're doing fine without me.
Yeah. Justin's going to go out on the town. I'm going to go to bed. It's going to be amazing. Oh my goodness. I have to wake up at 5, so I'm doing that. Any last words from the chat room? Speak now or forever hold your peace until next week. Or on the Twitters. Okay, that looks like a no. Well, Justin, any last words? You missed my disclaimer.
Yeah, I'll have to go
Very
back and
sad.
watch it.
Very sad. Everyone in the chat room, the disclaimer came through okay, yeah? I just want to make sure. Since my internet apparently was annoying during part of the show. Boat party at Justin's. Yeah.
Woo!
You gonna have a party, Justin?
Huh?
Party.
Party? Party? What's a party?
Host a party.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Mm?
What is it called? Ah.
What's black, white, and red all over?
No. Something called like voice, vocal fry. You ever heard of something called vocal fry?
No, I don't know what that is.
Some article I was reading about when women speak in like this vocal fry, which is like supposedly low and scratchy, but I can't picture.
What,
I was
like
reading
this?
about it. I don't know what
Are
it
you
is.
talking about this?
Is that it? Is that vocal fry?
I don't know. I don't talk this way.
I don't know what it is. It could be any. It could be like this. It could be like that. I don't have
Okay,
any
how is
idea.
it spelled?
Vocal fry. F-R-Y is fry and vocal is vocal. But it was in some article I was reading. It was interesting because women were being judged as less educated and intelligent if they spoke with vocal fry voice.
Epidemic.
But I don't know what it is. Is it like some new way? It's like...
Oh my god, it's like this.
No,
This
that's
is what they're
Valley
saying
Girl.
it is. Oh my god.
That's totally not what it is.
This is what YouTube is telling me the vocal fry is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the creaky. I mean, you sound
Oh my
very Valley Girl. Is that
god.
like the new Valley Girl? Oh my god. I like totally don't understand. But if that's the voice, then I totally see why people who speak like that are being disparaged.
Here's what I'm watching.
Oh, I'm not in the chat room anymore. I left. Is that what it is? It's like totally when I.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I totally can't even.
Yeah, like so women who talk like that, just don't do so in a phone interview.
Apparently it's really bad for your throat. That's what this woman is saying.
Well, what I read is that it makes you seem really dumb or something. I don't know. Weird. Yeah, I'd never heard of it because I'm not a young person as much as I used to be, as often as I used to be. And they said young people were doing it. Well, it's better. Hey, the kids in my day were on the hard narcotics and killing each other in the street. So if this is the worst that young people are doing today, then I guess it's all right.
Oh my god, I might report on this next week. I love this.
Yeah?
Vocal fry hurts women in the labor market.
Yes, that's the article I read.
Obviously, it's bad for you in the labor market.
Right, but I didn't know what the voice was. So I'm like, how like augmented a speaking thing is this? Right? Like, is it just if they talk, if women have a low voice? Is this it? But it's creaky too. So then I'm like, what is the creaky part? And I kind of did it like, was it like I didn't know.
Oh my god! Like I totally, literally can't even.
But see now you're doing like Valley Girl.
No, it's a mixture of the two. This is the
Valley
vocal
Girl.
fry.
You're doing Valley Girl with the vocal fry.
That's how it's done. Oh my god. Ugh.
That just sounds like Valley Girl to me.
No, it's not.
But I get the creaky low tone thing going on there. Yeah.
I totally can.
You should do the show that way next week. Or at
I'm
least
sure
that story.
everyone would love it. I'm
No, you
sure
should-
our viewership would quadruple.
You're killing me right now. Look, you got to do that story. If you can do the vocal fry, you got to do the story about the vocal fry with the vocal fry voice. That's how to really do that story.
Fry is this thing where you talk like really slow and you have gravelly voice and you sound really stupid.
You're scary good at this. I feel like this is how you talked in like high school.
No, I didn't actually.
No, I'm sure you didn't, but it came so.
But I
readily
was
to
a
you.
child in the 90s, so and also I do work with a lot of young 20-somethings right now, so I do run into it a lot.
If one of them starts, would you just shoot back like
Yeah. We have responses that they would not watch the show if I was gonna do it like that.
For not the entire show, but that
Yeah.
story, you should do the whole story that way.
Yeah, today it was really warm when we were driving back from a school in the van, and I was going, oh my god, I'm so hot. I literally am going to die. And it was a joke, obviously. But I was doing that today as a joke.
Wow.
As a joke.
But so this is the thing. People know about this.
Yeah.
I've never heard.
I've never heard it called vocal fry, but now I know that's what it's called.
Yeah. So.
But it's definitely a thing, and I just hurt
It really
my
sucks
throat
to be
doing
at the
that.
age
So that
where-
was a bad call.
It's apparently infecting people.
It hurt my throat.
It's a bad sign though when you're learning about things for the first time through its mainstream label name and not like, oh, that's what they're calling it, because that means I'm the them that's calling it that, and not, oh, that's what they're gonna call it. That's transitioning into old manhoodness.
Totes my goats.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
I'm totally like JKing with you right now. Okay,
Does that mean you're going to attempt to assassinate me, like?
No.
JFK? Well, I don't get these references. I don't understand
Justin!
this newfangled mode of communicating. The slaying of the young people.
Ed,
is
no. You got this all wrong.
designed
I
to
have heard this more from East Coast teenagers than from anybody on the West Coast. Kids on the East Coast are talking like this as well, Ed. I promise you.
Yeah, but they're talking like that because of what they've seen in the media.
I think it is an upper class privilege thing.
Yeah, well, it all started with middle to lower class Valley girls, and then in Los Angeles, they invented Valley Girl speak, where they had their own language and mode of communication.
I blame them for the fact that I say like all the time, and I hate it.
Like, right? Like, totally, right? Like, oh my god. And then it spread, became, out of fashion, but it became like it caught on to, upper class, whatever classy, Laguna Hills, Beverly Beach culture, and never left LA. It's still there. And it caught on to dudes, too. Dudes started talking bra talk. What's up, brah? Oh my god, dude.
Oh, I hate that too.
Brah, what's up, brah? Right? And now that seems that because of media, television, which originates largely in the Los Angeles area, it is spread to the East Coast.
I guess.
Now you have people wanting to JK each other.
Sorry, you used that wrong.
Is that not... That's not how you use it? Young people aren't sneaking around JKing each other? See, it's meant to intentionally deceive the older listener to the actual meaning of the content. For all I know, the kids are on the JK these days. Is that what they're doing? Are they hopped up on JK?
Nice try.
Is there any danger that young people will die from the excessive toting of goats?
Oh my god. Ridiculous. My goodness. Alright, well.
It's time o'clock for me to go. Good night, everybody. I gotta go.
You have to go?
I'm actually late.
You have to go out. Where are you going? Out, or just out?
You mean like asleep out, or like...
No, that's the third out. There's out, and then there's out.
The first and the last one sounded very much...
No, there's out and there's out.
Okay, so out would be like going to sleep, right? Is that the one?
No, that's out.
Oh.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Out is like dancing in the club.
I won't be dancing in a club. Is it a club?
And then out is like grabbing a beer with a friend or something.
Yeah, I'm just going out, whichever one happens to be. I'm going...
Did it wrong.
I'm going out. I'm gonna go out. What does that one mean?
To the insane asylum?
I'm just gonna go out. So, just out.
All right, Bobcat Goldthwait.
I miss Bobcat.
He's still around.
He didn't die? Who's the one that died? The other guy died. I miss him. Kennison. That's who I was thinking of. Sam Kennison. Well, so can you read me something from your book?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me get ready here.
I don't know if... Should I start the beginning of this new book? I probably should pick something from the old book that was really good. I don't know. I don't think reading the beginning of this book is going to be very intriguing. All right, let me look at the book I just finished. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here we go. It was a good thing that we had slept while we had the chance. Anxious to reach Castle Leoch before the Duke of Sandringham, Dougal kept to a fast pace and a grueling schedule. Traveling without the wagons, we made much better time, despite bad roads. Dougal pushed us, though, stopping only for the briefest of rests. By the time we rode once more through the gates of Leoch, we were nearly as bedraggled as the first time we had arrived there, and certainly as tired. I slid off my horse in the courtyard, then had to catch the stirrup to keep from falling. Jamie caught my elbow, then realizing that I couldn't stand, swung me up into his arms. He carried me through the archway, leaving the horses to the grooms and stable boys. "Are ye hungry, Sassenach?" he asked, pausing in the corridor. The kitchens lay in one direction, the stairs to the bedchambers in the other. I groaned, struggling to keep my eyes open. I was hungry, but I knew I would end up face down in the soup if I tried to eat before sleeping. There was a stir to one side, and I groggily opened my eyes to see the massive form of Mrs. Fitzgibbons looming disbelievingly alongside. "Why, what's the matter with the poor child?" she demanded of Jamie. "Has she had an accident of some sort?" "No, it's only she's married me," he said, "though if ye keer to call it an accident, ye may." He moved to one side to push through what proved to be an increasing throng of kitchen-maids, grooms, cooks, gardeners, men-at-arms, and assorted castle inhabitants, all inquisitively drawn to the scene by Mrs. Fitz's loud questions. Making up his mind, Jamie pressed to the right towards the stairs, making disjointed explanations to the hail of questions from every side. Blinking owlishly against his chest, I could do no more than nod to the surrounding welcomers, though most of the faces seemed friendly as well as curious. As we came around the corner of the hallway, I saw one face that seemed a good deal friendlier than the rest. It was the girl Lagahair, face shining and radiant as she heard Jamie's voice. Her eyes grew wide and the rosebud mouth dropped unbecomingly open, though, as she saw what he carried. There was no time for her to ask questions, though, before the stir and bustle around us halted abruptly. Jamie stopped, too. Raising my head, I saw Colum, whose startled face was now on level with mine. "What?" he began. "They're married," said Mrs. Fitz, beaming. "How sweet! You can give them your blessing, sir, while I get a room ready." She turned and made off for the stairs, leaving a substantial gap in the crowd, through which I could see the now pasty-white face of the girl Lagahair. Colum and Jamie were both talking together, questions and explanations colliding in midair. I was beginning to wake up, though it would have been overstating matters to say I was entirely myself. "Well," Colum was saying, not altogether approvingly, "if you're married, you're married. I'll have to talk to Dougal and Ned Gowan. There'll be legal matters to attend to. There are a few things you're entitled to when you wed, by the terms of your mother's dower contract." I felt Jamie straighten slightly. "Since ye mention it," he said casually, "I believe that's true, and one of the things I'm entitled to is a share of the quarterly rents from the Mackenzie lands. Dougal's brought back what he'd collected so far. Perhaps you'll tell him to leave aside my share when he does the reckoning. Now, if you'll excuse me, Uncle, my wife is tired." And hoisting me into a more solid position, he turned to the stairs. Shall I keep going?
Huh? I was already. So you've already read this book, right?
Yeah, I read this one already.
So the pasty castle help girl.
Uh-huh.
Secret longing for him that had never been able to be expressed, or carnal past in which much mayhem.
He went for the leading lady instead, of course, right?
But what about Cinderella?
No, this girl's better. This woman, I should say. Let's see. I'm trying to find some.
She couldn't like snap out of it long enough to be like, "Hi everybody, I'm the new lady of the house. I'm really tired right now, but it's totally awesome that you all are still awake at this bedraggled hour." She's bedraggled.
Let's see.
How do you get bedraggled?
Bedraggled.
Bedraggled. I don't think I've ever called myself bedraggled. I might need to use it. I'm sure there's been plenty of times when I've been bedraggled.
Let's see. I'm trying to find some of the saucy bits. Let's see.
Is that the real reason when it gets to the saucy bits?
No, I like the whole thing. I think it's all really fascinating. I just wanted to give you a taste. Let's see. Let's see. It's getting good. They're fighting right now, so that means it's getting close.
So is that how the fights end?
Well, sometimes. Okay, here we go. All right. He bent to pull off his boots, then picked them up and threw them one after the other as hard as he could at the wall. They're fighting now. I winced as each one thudded off the stones and bounced to the floor. He yanked off his plaid and tossed it heedlessly behind him. Then he started toward me, glaring. "So you've no claim on me, Sassenach? You'll free me to take my pleasure where I like, is that it?" "Well, is it?" he demanded. I said, well, yes," taking a step backwards despite myself. "That's what I meant." He grabbed my arms, and I found the combustion had spread to his hands as well. His calloused palms were so hot on my skin that I jerked involuntarily. "Well, if you've no claim on me, Sassenach," he said, "I've one on you. Come here." And he took my face in his hands and set his mouth on mine. There was nothing either gentle or undemanding about that kiss, and I fought against it, trying to pull back from him. He bent and scooped me up with an arm under my knees, ignoring my attempts to get down. I hadn't realized just how bloody strong he really was. Let's see.
Rape is always so cute when it's between people
No,
who love each
no.
other.
They're married. They love each other. They were just
That's so
fighting.
cute. Yeah. Uh-huh. Good thing it's being written in retrospect, not in real time.
Let's see. Let's see. There's some really sweet stuff too, though. I'm trying to think.
Well, I don't have to wait for my next bedtime
Yeah.
because I'm getting text. I'm supposed to be somewhere else already.
All right. Are you going out, or out?
I'm still not sure.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's
But I'm not. I'm definitely not going clubbering.
to Clurb.
I'm not gonna club. I'm gonna go drink some slurve.
He aggravated my breathless condition by kissing me thoroughly.
Well, you know, that's you should always brush thoroughly. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Thoroughly.
Jamie held me tightly, pressing me down with his weight, as though to protect me, to save me from being swept away by the roaring pull of the stone circle.
The stone circle?
Yes. That's, she falls through a Stonehenge and ends up in the 1700s.
Oh.
So,
And
then she falls in love with a Scotsman in the 1700s. So yeah, what's up with Jack feedback? Is that happening still?
Oh god, with the new child and the things and the stuff, my time has disappeared. It's there. It's mostly edited. I just need to.
Did Kiki do her part yet?
Yes, I've got Kiki's part here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I was on a tear getting it all edited together, and then I fell off the tear wagon. And I should probably do that instead of go out, but I gotta go out. I gotta commit it.
Needs more vocal fry. Strengths, I should have done it all in vocal fry. I'll do it next time.
Oh, yeah, we missed.
I'll read you the first sentence of the next book in
Okay.
vocal fry right now. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Roger Wakefield stood in the center of the room, feeling surrounded. He thought the feeling largely justified, insofar as he was surrounded by tables covered with bric-a-brac and mementos, by heavy Victorian-style furniture replete with anti-massacres, plush and Afghans, by tiny braided rugs that lay on the polished wood, craftily awaiting an opportunity to skid beneath an unsuspecting foot, surrounded by 12 rooms of furniture and clothing and papers, and the books. My God, the books. I did it. And on that note, that's it.
Awesome. That is this has got to be a thing.
Should I start
Vocal
doing YouTube
fry.
videos? Vocal fry reading of things? Should I
What?
vocal? I should. Oh, this is
Yeah.
blasphemous, but I should vocal fry read the Bible, shouldn't I?
Or anything. You could do it. Anything. No, because what it is
Oh,
this is even
Shakespeare!
better.
Shakespeare!
Right. You're doing like audio cliff notes. You got to do audio cliff notes in vocal fry, so people who speak in vocal fry can like totally get Hamlet.
Oh, like Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? So like right here, Juliet is trying to figure out where Romeo is.
That's beautiful. Oh my god. Oh my god. Blair, that's amazing. That just killed. That was just fantastic.
What is the other one? The sun is the east, and Juliet. No, what is it? Something is, and Juliet is the sun. What is it? I forget. Oh my god. I don't know.
What does it mean, Blair?
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. That's Hamlet. So like right here, Hamlet is trying to figure out like
Sketch.
how long he's gonna live and if he even cares.
He's like trying to make a sketch, but doesn't know if he's gonna stick around for it. He might bail on his mortal coil.
He's wondering about his buddy Horatio and like why he died, I guess.
Then he's all like, to be, or like, whatever.
Oh my god, to be or not to be. Basically, he's like, screw it.
Oh my god, Blair. You have to create this. You have to make this
Okay.
thing real.
All right. This sounds fun. I want to do that. I love Shakespeare.
Oh. Mm. I want the one from The Tempest to just be like don't even bother. Like, no, it's not worth it. It's
The
just
Tempest? Which part?
stupid. I tried to. I could never figure out what was happening in The Tempest. It was like a shipwreck and
Mm-hmm.
people. Like,
Wasn't The Tempest like the non-comedy version of Twelfth Night?
Yeah, it was like awful or something. It
Right.
was terrible. I didn't get it.
All right. So you guys in the chat room think that I should do this YouTube thing? I'm thinking about it.
This is gonna be viral. This is totally go viral.
All right, I'll do it. Hopefully no one will steal it before then. I have to get on this then.
Yeah, yeah. You need to do Shakespearean Cliff Notes with Blair Law.
Blair. Oh my god, you guys. Thanks for watching my YouTube. I'm going to talk about Shakespeare in case you're not sure what's going on, because who knows what he is ever talking about. Like, oh my god. See, who needs improv? I got this.
You've got it. You are improv. You did this much better than your pirate.
Yes, Identity 4, it's really bad. My throat hurts so much right now.
Okay, so spare it. Use it sparingly. Use it sparingly.
Mhm.
But I think this is your movie deal right here. This is gonna be like the new
Movie
Happy
deal.
Gilmore.
Oh my god.
All right, we're gonna launch it. We're gonna make
Aw.
a movie out of this. It's gonna be like a series of movies. Blah blah.
Totes viral. Oh my god. Alright. Well, on that note.
That made my night.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad I read a page of that book in Vocal Fry. I'm glad someone brought it up. You brought it up, the Vocal Fry.
Yeah. I almost did the story, but I couldn't figure out what I was talking about because I had no idea what vocal fry was. And I even had Googled, but I didn't find anything in the Google.
All right.
I didn't
Sweet.
YouTube it. That was my mistake. I just went with Google.
I googled it. The YouTube was what came up.
Oh, you know what? I might have Googled it on my phone, which doesn't bring up as much stuff.
Oh my god. Totes need a vocal coach.
the Shakespeare.
Oh my god.
Romeo, like right here, Romeo's like totally looking for Juliet. Back to
Hermia, thou art part of this confederacy. She's like saying, hey, Hermia, you bitch. You totally crossed me right now. How dare you?
Can you say you really want to get Froyo?
I totes want to get Froyo right now. Like, I can't even.
Oh my god, this is too much. Okay. Good night, Blair Love, while you still have a voice.
Bye.